Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub. I am at the beautiful Revelstoke Mountain Resort and Lodge with my family, my wife Catherine, Ella, and Owen, and we are entering this beautiful space where the hot tub is located. Okay, it's not really beautiful. It really looks more like a mashup of your favorite ski lodge with your grandparents' condo from the 90s. But what is beautiful is this incredible panorama, this glass wall. You can see the mountain. We're in British Columbia. It's incredible. And I step into the hot water to soak, and just as my feet touch the water, I hear it, rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub. And I look over, and there's just this guy in the hot tub with us. It's just my family and this 65-year-old man who looks like that mean uncle you never want to have Thanksgiving dinner with. And I don't know if he's angry, and I don't know if he's making a joke, but he says it. And I hesitate, but then I remember I'm on vacation. I'm just going to keep going. I get into the water, I sit down, and I'm enjoying this. And I realize he's not actually alone. His wife is here. I think it's his wife. It's a woman about the same age, but she's not wearing a bathing suit. She's standing beside the hot tub, holding his towel, not looking at us, not looking at him, not looking out the window, just looking to the middle distance. And it's weird, but I'm not thinking about it. And I turn to my wife to say something funny when it happens again. Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub. And he's like really insistent. And I think he's pissed off that I have children in a hot tub. I don't know what to do about it. So I look to my wife, are we going to get murdered? And she looks to my daughter like, are you feeling okay? She looks to Owen. Owen's 10, and he's like, So we all just relax. And a minute later, Rub-a-dub-dub is out of that tub. He walks right past his maybe wife, doesn't take the towel, leaves. She follows, not watching. And we just enjoy 20 minutes of peace together. But I got to tell you, folks, I'm haunted by this. I'm haunted by this because I don't know. Can he just not count? Does he count children as adults? Because Rub-a-dub-dub, there were 5 people in that tub.
Last April, when the world was greening and winter was well and truly over, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. The good kind, survivable. Not so good, the tumors on the left side over my heart. Don't worry about the radiation, they tell me. We have a specialist who's going to teach you a breathing technique, BIDH. Your inflated lungs can push your heart back in your chest a few millimeters to safety. I practice every day. I'm a Virgo. You teach, I learn. In June, they introduced me to the radiotherapy machine. Whoa, that thing is a mutant stormtrooper. Straight out of Star Wars episode XVII. It has more arms than an octopus. It's shiny white, has bits that whir and clunk and spin too close to my face. What if there's a power failure? Don't worry, we have a backup. Do you have a backup to the backup? Hypothetically, in an emergency, how fast can this thing stop? Because it will crush me. Don't worry, that's never happened. So I'd be the first. Don't worry, we've got your back. But the whole team, the radiotherapists are hiding 2 walls and a corridor away. Do they trust the machine? I've looked after this heart all my life. I've exercised, eaten healthy, taken it to therapy when it was broken. I hiked it up to the top of Parker Ridge, and together we watched the Saskatchewan Glacier birth a river. I want to live to the next episode, XVII. The force rushes on and keeps going strong for 40 years.
My older sister's boots are a little hot to be wearing inside, but I know they're cool. They're tawny brown leather. They have these thick rubber soles and these long, long laces. I'm in grade 7. It's December, my first high school dance. A boy, Kevin Hatcher, is walking across the room. Who is Kevin Hatcher? I don't know. He has just been staring at me for weeks now, and I am a girl who thinks that this might be the beginning of love. He asks me to dance Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. We're slow dancing. He smells okay, not like some boys. He's kind of cute. He's taller than me. I look down and I notice that Kevin is stepping on my lace. We're slowly going around, round and round, and I try to keep up so he won't notice. And maybe we'll trip and fall in front of everyone? Oh, why don't I say that my lace is undone? The feelings of love, beginning of romance, gone. This love story has derailed and gone right off the edge of a cliff. Wait, no. Now Stairway to Heaven goes from slow dance to like rock and roll, and we are still slow dancing. I push away and I start moving, dancing, and making lots of upper body movements so Kevin won't notice my feet. And when the song ends, I rush to the nearest exit as fast as I can. Sometimes in life and love, risks must be taken. One never knows what may happen.
Okay, so I'm a pretty zen guy. It kind of comes with the job. But there are a few things that really, really piss me off. Drivers that don't signal before turning or changing lanes. People that leave their carts in a parking lot. What's up with that? And young people that don't give up their seat to elderly people on the bus. Whenever I'm confronted with these situations, I just think, man, what assholes. And so a few years back, in between classes in McGill, on a winter day just like this, I'm exiting with my friends Waleed and Bessie to get a bit of fresh air. We're in front of the Leacock building, and there's this car that pulls up into a handicap spot, but it doesn't have a handicap sign. Now, we're facing the passenger's side, and I can already see myself, I can feel myself kind of getting a bit tense, like, who does that? What an asshole. From my view, I can kind of see a head pop. The passengers exiting on their own. From my point of view, they're walking normally. I feel my heart starting to pump. My muscles are tensing. I kind of prepare to go over there and call this person out. But within a few seconds, as the person continues walking and there's more distance, I can see a clear limp. I can see they are in fact handicapped. And as I get closer to the car, I can see that the sign had fallen from their dashboard. Oh crap, what if I'm the asshole? Thank you.
Picture this, ordinary day with my partner in crime, Frank. He's bored, I'm blind, he dares me. Go-karting? Reckless daredevil mode activated. Now you may be thinking, how? You can't see. Well, I forgot. Here I am, waiver in hand. Frank is guiding me. Sign lower. Now I'm thinking, this can't be legal. Can I go to jail for this? Well, technically, it doesn't say no blind people. All right, waiver signed. Safety briefing. They're explaining rules, green flag, red flag. The only red flag I can see here is me. Now, getting in the cart. Very ungraceful, not cute, deeply awkward. I feel like everyone's watching me. I tell the worker, first time, really nervous, not used to this model. So can I drive? Let's find out. On your marks, get set, go! Starting slow, steady, smooth, until this kid, probably 10, tries to pass me. Now, my ego is at risk, and so is everyone on the track. So I rev the gas, eyes on the road, pun intended. fast, furious, fierce, and freaking blind. But I can hear these little feet pushing on the pedal, so I push back on mine, full speed. Not today, kiddo. And I take off, and all of a sudden, I'm no longer in a go-kart. I'm in a freaking rocket. I feel like a shooting star on the track. And suddenly, Frank yells, "Turn left!" When? Now! Open up for the turn! So I do what any sensible Formula Driver 1 does. I'm now a shouting star on the track. That's not what I meant! Hands on wheel! So I grab the wheel, swivel, miss the tire wall by an inch. And for once I saw my life flash before my eyes. And the kid, "Erk! Hey lady, are you blind or what?" Yes. But still not today, kiddo. I'm still rolling, still roaring, unstoppable. And then I hear, "Stop!" And then something yanks me from behind. It's the worker chasing me down. "Ma'am, it's over. I guess I didn't see the checkered flag." Well, best 10 minutes of my life. I hop off, I smirk with Frank, and shall we? I take out my white cane. Thanks for the ride, guys. That was really fun. You should have seen their faces. I'm kind of glad I didn't. So, can I drive? Legally, no. Legendary? Yes.
Don't do anything too dangerous, my mother says as my flight is announced. She has a point. I'm fresh out of school, leaving my small town in Russia for New York City. To calm her down, I say, living is dangerous. I have a point. It's 2002, only 10 years after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and that crime-ridden decade wasn't known as the wild 90s for nothing. 2002, only 1 year after the collapse of the Twin Towers in New York. The world is a dangerous place. But I'm young, adventurous, and New York is my oyster. Right away, I feel comfortable because everybody minds their own business, which is nice when you come from a country where everybody minds your business. 5 years later, I get my green card and go back to Russia to visit my family. The trip requires a transfer in Moscow. My flight isn't listed. I ask at the information desk, only instead of an answer, I get a scolding. "Why are you so impatient?" Welcome to the motherland. Eventually, my flight is announced. I get to the counter. My luggage is over the weight limit. The airline official is helpful. He suggests it's cheaper to pay a bribe. Just put the cash in your passport, he tells me. Only do it discreetly, the cameras are watching. When I arrive, picking a legitimate taxi from a line of scammers is a test of my street smarts. I get to my parents' house, I'm at my limit. "How can you live like this? You can't relax." To which my mother says, "New York made you soft."
I've spent a lot of time around camps. Like ever since I was a kid, I've been a camper, I've been a counselor, I've had a 4-year-old ask me, "Are you gay? You look gay." I've done just about everything, and one of the best parts of being around that environment that I don't think a lot of people realize is that it can teach you a lot about being a parent. Yes, I know that it's weird that an 18-year-old has learned things about being a parent while not having any children, I think. I hope. But it's the most important lesson I've learned about parenting is that when a child presents their creative intentions to you, you absolutely cannot misinterpret them or get them entirely wrong. Literally the most exemplary space in which I learned this was I was at a filmmaking camp And at the end of the 2-week session, they had a talent show. And in the talent show, everybody got to get up, and I did my comedy, and I sat down, and I saw the director of the camp coming up, and he picks up the paper and looks down at it and squints. And in this moment that perfectly crystallizes it, he looks down and goes, "Next up is James with Puppy Chow?" And I turn my head just quickly enough to see this 6-year-old kid in a suit and tie and a top hat with 2 sock puppets who turns around and yells, "It's pronounced Puppet Show!" and then storms off.
I'm 3 years old. It's the Iran-Iraq war. The sirens are too loud. If I close my eyes, my home will be safe. I'm 17 in my schoolyard, covered from head to toe in gray hijab with 200 other girls, holding hands, walking in circles, singing, "Tanha yek qadam ta tolou khorshid." I'm 23, at the airport with 2 suitcases, leaving for the US for my studies, never to come back. I choose freedom for me. And for that, I let go of the smell of fresh bread, watching my mom grow old, my home, my country. I'm 24 in California, in line to vote for the next president of Iran when the election results are announced in Iran. It's funny. I go to protests. I read about guards opening fire on people on the streets in Iran. Torture, prison. I lose count. Maybe I'm numb. I'm safe. I'm not there. I'm 40. In Montreal, Iran has been silent. No calls, no internet. I have not spoken to my mom in 2 weeks. I cannot pick up the phone and just call and say, "Mom, I miss you." I'm scared. My first home, Iran, is dying. I see my people holding hands, walking in circles, singing, "Tanha yek qadam ta tolou khorshid." Only one step until sunrise.
I was 21 years old when I left Iran. But I should say, I never felt my heart is tight there. It was mainly because of my upbringing. I grew up building a thick wall around myself. I had to leave to feel I can break that wall, to feel I'm safe, to feel I can belong to something. Iran was always some random pictures on my Instagram feed from friends visiting there during holidays, visiting families. Nothing more than that. Until last January, that the images changed. Countless number of protesters on the street chanting for their freedom. They were yearning for something that I have been yearning for my whole life, to be free. I got excited. Their voice was my voice, their hope was my hope. I was all the time on my phone checking the videos, images. My phone was an invisible string tying me to the streets of Iran, to the people. And suddenly, it was total digital blackout. No news, no images. I kept scrolling. Total silence. Few days passed. And when the images returned, it was all bullets and body bags. The people that I was longing for were in body bags. Something in me shifted. I became everyone. I became the lover lying on the floor, holding the beloved, their body, for the last time. I became the father, calling the name of his son lovingly, searching among rows of body bags. I became the child, holding the image of their parent in the cemetery, confused, learning that they will never come back. In those sleepless nights and horrible days, I realized something. It's not sharing a place that makes us a people, but sharing a common pain and a common hope. In all of these, somewhere in there, I also found my people.
It's November 2025, and my boyfriend has just been moved to the 9th floor of the Jewish General, which is much better than the 3 days he spent in the basement, emergency, in pain, delirious. It's his second time in the hospital this year. He was in January for heart surgery, but he's gonna be fine. It's fine. It's apparently pancreatitis. And he's got a private room with a shower and a nice view. During the day, you can see orange julep peeking out from behind a tall building. And in the evening, somewhere over, I look on my phone, I think it's TMR, there's some kind of Christmas tree light thing. It's lovely, and he's gonna be fine. He's in pain, he's bloated, but he's totally gonna be okay. I visit him every day. But after sundown, I have to go back home and feed our cats, our very demanding, hungry cats. It's much easier to say goodbye to him in this nice room with this nice view than in the emergency, and he's gonna be fine. So I go downstairs, I get in the cab, I give the guy the address, and he's like, hey, I think I drove you home yesterday. And I can't lie, I have to be honest, I'm like, maybe, I don't remember, I'm sorry, my brain is just a little, and he nods. And he's fiddling with the radio, but instead of putting on music, he puts on a nature sounds playlist. And as the sound of rain fills his cab, my jaw unclenches, my shoulders retreat away from my ears, and I start to cry. And after I feed the cats, I put a rain playlist on my phone's library because it really works. Thank you.
So I'm disappointed. I don't know if you heard, but our fearless leader, Monsieur Legault, is leaving politics. Yeah. Yeah, you don't understand. I've been waiting to ask him a question for over a year since I started teaching francisation. Because I want to know, Papa Legault, am I your worst nightmare or am I your best wet dream? Most of the time, I'm pretty sure I'm his worst nightmare because I'm a child of refugees. I grew up in Don Mills, Ontario. My accent, not one of you historical Anglophones in the audience who flip back and forth. My spelling, apparently unforgivable in French. And perhaps the worst thing of all, I insist on teaching my students, even niveau 1-2, écoutez et répétez après moi, le racisme systémique existe encore au Québec. But then I think maybe I've got it all wrong. Maybe I am his best wet dream because I'm a child of refugees from Don Mills, Ontario. And I chose to come here I chose to immerse myself in the culture and the language because I have respect for the courage and the perseverance and the humor of the Québécois. Because after 25 years, after 25 winters, I still believe that if we're going to do anything different in this country, if we're going to build a system that's more open, more egalitarian, more democratic, the best chance we have of doing that is here, because it's different here already. But I guess I'm never gonna know, because Papa Legault is leaving. And now all I have left is, Hey, petit frère Saint-Pierre, Plamondon, dis-moi, am I your worst nightmare? Or am I your best wet dream?
A few years ago, when my son came back from school, it was my birthday, and I asked him to pack his bags immediately. We're leaving Dhaka. Destination, Cox's Bazar. Most people fly, but we took the train because the fun is in the journey, right? And once we reached there, we checked into a really small hotel, and we walked the shoreline in the evening of the world's longest beach, Cox's Bazar. But I woke up in the morning really restless. Let's go further. St. Martin's Island. It's a coral island right on the Bay of Bengal next to Myanmar. You can only go there when the sea is really calm and patient. But once we reached the ferry, there were no more tickets. And my son said, "What now?" Well, there's nothing a few hundred taka cannot solve in Bangladesh. And soon enough, we were in a VIP captain's cabin, sneaked in by a policeman. And once we reached the island, there were thousands of people, the Independence Day crowd. And we were looking from hotel to hotel on a rickshaw, no rooms. Every hotel, same answer, no rooms. And as the sun started to set, my anxiousness started to creep in. Where were we gonna stay the night? And our rickshaw puller, I think he sensed this. And he looked back and he said, "Don't worry, I'm here." And he offered us a room in the hut of his mother-in-law's cabin and hut, which was in the village of the fishermen, right next to the sea. So me and my son, we looked at each other, we shrugged, but we went. We were supposed to stay for 2 days, and we stayed 7. The mornings looked like beautiful sunrises and smelled of freshly made rotis by the women sitting on their porches, and the children pitter-patter dancing and singing. And the fishermen went out to sea, and we went with them one day. And we saw the fish getting caught in the net, and we sang those chants on the top of our lungs. We caught those fish, and we fried them by the moonlight, and singing and dancing with the whole village. Our days became so simple and beautiful. We sang and we danced, we swam, and we ate our meals of dal and roti on the beach. I have eaten in grander places, but nothing has ever tasted warmer. And that birthday, it taught us to trust in the journey, and it took us from being tourists to becoming travelers. And when it was time to leave and say goodbye to a bunch of strangers, it was so hard to say goodbye because it felt like home.
So the day William Shatner is getting his honorary degree from McGill, I'm lazing on the couch with my 2-year-old son mid-afternoon. My wife comes through the door and says, "Captain Kirk is outside our house in a car right now." I express my doubts. The fine line between humor and abject cruelty might have come up. My wife elucidates. She says, "William Shatner is in a car 2 doors down from our house." Here's how my mind works. William Shatner directly in front of my house, 0% chance. William Shatner 2 doors over, 100% possible. My wife says the next moment looked as if our son had been thrown off a roof onto an Olympic trampoline. Our memories differ on this. It was over 10 years ago. He sometimes speaks in full sentences. We can move on. So outside, there he is in the flesh. I got to play it cool. I knew it. See, I knew he'd grown up on the street, and secretly I've been hoping he'd come by the old place while he was in town. Now, challenge is how to get a photo, because everyone knows Bill is not thrilled by that kind of thing. So I go with, oh, my best friend lives far away. She's your hugest fan. It means so much. Bill looks at me. I'd rather you didn't. So I blow it. I'm walking away, and I dejectedly glance over once more. Crestfallen, yet secretly really, really impressed by how spry he looks for someone in his 80s. He catches my eye, and with a bit of pity and mostly disgust says, go get the camera. So somehow I find the camera, and here's where mine and my wife's memories converge. She asked the back of my head if I want to bring our sweet child out to meet one of my idols, and the back of my head screams, hell no, as I don't break stride. 1, he might screw things up. 2, he's too small to remember anyway. And 3, he's still concussed from the couch dismount. So back outside, Bill still not thrilled. And I go to take the picture, and all of a sudden my camera, it's transmogrified into some kind of Alienware device with lights and hieroglyphics and wires, and I'm shaking like I'm on a bus ride in Peru, and there's like bells ringing in my ears. So the limo driver steps in, grabs it, looks at me. He goes, it's one button. And I'm like, I don't want to know nothing. Just take the damn photo. So I line up beside Captain Kirk, and he deflates. See, there's a bit of a height discrepancy between us. Now, what can I do? What can I do? Right? This is the guy who, when he was asked about the time he filled in for Chris Plummer in Stratford, said, well, they widened the shoulders and took in the waist a little bit, but other than that, everything was fine. So I lean down and in. Bill likes. Bill chuckles, ha-ha, and I smile, and then a limo driver sent straight from heaven takes one of the awesomest photos of my life.
So I'm at the bus stop on Montreal Street, and I'm on my phone, like checking when the bus is coming. So there's a little lady, and she goes, trying to read the schedule. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be coming in 5 minutes. So she's like, blah, 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 start talking to me. I like talking to old ladies, it's always funny, you know. So, and she goes like, I'm from Portugal. I'm like, okay. And she's like, you know, where I grew up during the Salazar dictatorship, so I was really young at that time, and we were so poor that we couldn't buy shoes. So everyone was walking barefoot because we're too poor. So, and I come from a strong, all the women in my family are really strong women, you know, like for example, my aunt, she had such large and strong feet that she couldn't fit any shoes anyways. So, because there was this law, this stupid fascist law that made us illegal walking barefoot, because the police could arrest and find anyone that was walking barefoot. That was a really stupid law because we were so poor, you know? So the women, to go to the market in the city, some of them had shoes and some of them didn't. So when they would like gather together, and if they saw policemen coming for them, they would just kick a sandal to the others, and when the police came, all the women had one shoe. So they laughed at the face of the police like that, you know. And she goes, I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but you know, we have to stay vigilant because we never know, fascism could come anytime soon, you know. So the bus came, and we just like greeted each other a good day. Voila.
I think we can agree that almost everything about 2020 sucked. Almost. There was one thing that was pretty great, though. Yes, you heard me. Great. The lack of traffic. So when my friend Astrid suggests a road trip to the Thousand Islands in Ontario, I'm all in. It's a hot July day, and we're cruising, listening to 80s music, driving on suspiciously smooth roads. I'm usually a very slow driver, ask any of my friends. But I find myself speeding a little, like here and there, but it's fine. The GPS leads us to one of the random islands. We park and head straight into the water. There are a few socially distanced families splashing around, playing with their dogs, but for the most part, it feels like we're in our own tropical bubble. For dinner, we find a waterfront seafood restaurant that's obviously not crowded. We watch the sunset over the glittering islands. We watch the glittering sunset over the little islands and enjoy a last few hours of freedom. When it starts to get dark, we start the journey back home. All of a sudden, lights and sirens are flashing behind me. Do you know how fast you're going there? Yes, officer, I'm sorry, I know I was going fast, but like, you have to understand, I'm from Quebec. Like, do you have any idea how many potholes we have in Montreal? It is virtually impossible to speed here. Like, to speed there, sorry. Like, he's like, okay, just get out of here, okay? Just slow down and take it up with your mayor.
Like a lot of tropical children born here in Montreal, my parents forced me to go to ethnic language school every Saturday morning because, I don't know, when you grow up with an immigrant parent, they feel like 5 days of torture is not enough. And I never really understood why as a kid, and then like when I was 18, coming back home from school, it kind of clicked why. Because a group of ladies on the bus, they sit behind me and they start, first, they're chit-chatting, then they start gossiping, and all in what they believe to be a secret language. But really, it was the same secret language I learned in Saturday morning ethnic language school, which was Persian. And then it starts getting weird because they start like semi-half roasting me. They start saying stuff like, "Oh my God, Leila, do you see the guy over there? He has the mohawky thing. Oh my God, he's so bad. He's very hipster. With that type of haircut, that bad path, he's going to become a drug dealer for sure. Or even worse, Leila, he's going to study creative writing at Concordia University. Oh my God. Can you imagine? It's such a bad path, creative writing. Drug dealing too, but mainly creative writing, bad path. And then I'm like, I need to lock in, I can't laugh. I gotta be chill. 10 minutes later, it's my stop. I get up and I say, Khudafis, which means goodbye. Which apparently it also means, I just learned it is a racial possibility for brown people to turn red. I had no idea this was a biological feasibility, but science advanced for my people. I'm very happy. And as I was walking out with my skinny jeans and apparently my drug dealing haircut, I heard one of them say, "Oh my God, Leila, I didn't know he was, I thought he was the Spanish or maybe just the hipster." Anyways, from this, the hipster, to you, adios, goodbye, and Khudafis!
This is a while ago. I'm living at home with my parents. I'm in my 20s. And I'm in my room in the basement, and I just hear shouting from upstairs, and I run up the stairs to see what's going on, and my parents are in an argument. It's like a really bad one. They don't they've had arguments, but this was like a really bad one. I can't remember what it was about, but they're just like rah, 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 yelling at each other. Ruby, you did this, and Bernice, you did that, rah, rah, rah. And they're just really at it, and I was getting like worried. And they calmed down for a second. My dad walks down the hallway to his room, and a few seconds later walks back, and then he goes, and another thing, and they start yelling again, rah, 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 rah. And then it calms down, and he walks back to his room. A few seconds later, it comes back, and another thing, rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I swear to God, this is exactly how I remember it. After 4 or 5 coming backs and another things, he finally comes back, and he goes, and another thing! Where do you want to go for breakfast? And my mom's like, how about Chekora? And she turns to me, Josh, you want to come? I'm like, okay. And we go to breakfast. They say never miss breakfast, so we didn't.